Hi guys, so in this video we will be discussing about inheritance concept with respect to serialization. So this is very much important for interview point of view, especially for freshers or for experienced interviewer can ask you. So first of all the question comes, what is serialization? So we will understand what is serialization first. Okay, what is serialization? Serialization is a process of converting the Java object, okay, into a stream of bytes. Okay, so basically what happens, you are having one Java object. Java object can be anything like student object or employee object, any object you can consider here. Okay, I am taking student object. That student object can be converted into a stream of bytes. Okay, so what do you understand by stream of bytes? So before storing the data, that entity data or the object data into the database or a file. Okay, so here comes database and here comes file. So can you directly store object to database or file? Is it possible? No, we can't directly store this object data into database or file. So for that, to convert this, to store it into a database reliable format or file reliable format, we need serialization concept. Okay, so what serialization does, it takes the Java object, okay, it converts it into a stream of bytes so that it can easily get stored in database or in file, and then it can easily get stored in the file and we can see it by opening into that directory, or in the class path you can see the file. You can open the file and you can see all the details which was present in the operation on this object. Okay, so you might be doing some operations on this student object, right? You have made use of constructor and you have tried, let's suppose you have tried to copy certain things on this student object, you have tried to make anything. Okay, you can understand, like you can try to create 2-3 student objects, okay, and you try to store it with certain details like ID, name, age, address, school. So those all details can be stored in database as well as in files. Okay, so this is the process of converting Java object into stream of bytes. Okay, so there will be, you can consider it like a borderline. Okay, you can consider it like a interface where directly the object will come, it will get converted into stream of byte, and then it will get stored in the respective folders like database or file. So this is a process of serialization concept. And what is a deserialization concept? Deserialization concept means it's a reverse of serialization, means converting this stream of bytes which is getting stored in file or database, it's converting back to this object. Okay, converting this serialized value to Java object. This is called as deserialization concept. Okay, so the question comes here is, how can you use it in inheritance, and how interviewer can ask you in case of inheritance with the help of this serialization. Means they can merge these two concepts together and they can ask you a question. So basically in interview there will be 3 scenarios that you have to consider. The first scenario, let me tell you all the scenarios one by one so that you will get a clarity. Okay, so there will be 3 scenarios that we have to consider. The first case is, there is class A. Okay, so class A will be what? It's a super class or a base class. Okay, then you will see a class B. Class B will extend class A. There will be certain thing written over here, and there is class A here. Okay, so there is class A which is a super class for class B, and class B extends class A. You can see like this here. Okay, but let's suppose there is one case 1 I am telling. The case 1 I am telling now. What is case 1 now? The case 1 is class A implements. Tell me how to make this class A serialize. What can we do so that class A becomes serialized? We have to implement serializable. So what is serializable? Is it a class or an interface? Here you can see we are implementing, we are not extending. From this you can get to know that serializable is an interface. Okay, so serializable is an interface and we are implementing this serializable concept so that the class A will become serialized. Okay, and as soon as class A implements serializable, if you do, then soon you will get one warning. You will get one warning. Okay, what warning you will get here? You have to implement UUID. Okay, you have to generate or you have to give your default version UUID. Okay, so that default version will be of public static final type. So here it will give you warning that you have to implement that public static final type default version UUID. Okay, so you have to implement this public static final UUID. Okay, so you can consider it like a UUID. Okay, equal to certain value. It will be like a default value you have to give. Okay, so you can consider it like a string UUID. Okay, some UUID value will be there. So what is UUID, that will come in later. So here you can consider like this have to implement. Okay, then all this class A fields and methods will automatically become serialized. Now class B is extending class A. Okay, so if class B extends class A, then what will happen? A is serialized, then B will automatically get serialized or not? Yes. If class A is serialized, okay, if class A implements serializable, then class B will automatically become serialized. Okay, we don't have to do anything to make class B a serialized class. So this is the concept of serialization, which is first case that we have understood. Now we will understand the second scenario. What is the second scenario, guys? In second scenario, what we will do, we will not make class A serialized. Okay, we will not make class A serialized. I just want class B to get serialized. Then what will happen? You just have class B extends class A, and now we are doing implements serializable. Okay, so here what we did, here class A, which is a super class, is not serializable, but class B, which is a base class or subclass, you can say, sorry, not a base class, subclass of class A, is extending class A and it implements serializable. Okay, so in this scenario what will happen? Only class B is serialized. Okay, and whatever class A field values are there, it will automatically get converted to the default value. Okay, so let's suppose I am putting here the value as int A equal to 5. Okay, and whenever we are doing class B extend class A, then what will happen? This A will become 0 over here. Okay, so you can consider it like let's suppose one more data type I am taking, like string S equal to Raj. I am taking some name here. Okay, and as soon as class B extends class A, then the value of string will become null. This is very important concept over here. Okay, so this concept needs to be understood properly. Okay, so what we are doing here, class A is the super class, class B is the subclass of class A, and it implements serializable. Then if class A is not implementing serializable and only class B is implementing serializable, then what will happen? All the values which is present over here will reset to their default value. Okay, but it will throw compile time error now. It will not return me these values if I print it. Why it will throw compile time error? Can you tell me, guys, why it will throw compile time error? Because whenever it will check, because at runtime JVM will check for default constructor in class A, because class A is not serializable. Class A is not implementing serializable. That means A is not a serializable class. Only this what you can say is a child class is a serializable class. Here super class is not a serializable class. Then what will happen? JVM at a runtime will look for default constructor in class A. Okay, and if it doesn't found that default constructor in class A, then what will happen? Here you are making your own parameterized constructor, right? Here you are passing int A string S. Okay, and here you are writing, within this you are writing this dot A equal to A and this dot S equal to S, like that you are writing. Means you have given your parameterized constructor over here, but you haven't given default constructor in class A. Okay, then what will happen over here? As in runtime, whenever you run the code, then at runtime JVM will search for where is the default constructor. I am not able to see default constructor in class A. So whenever that situation will arise, then it will start throwing compile time error from here. Okay, and it will not print anything present in class B. So how can we resolve that? To resolve this, we have to put here one default constructor. You can print anything or you can't print, it's up to you, but you should have a default constructor over here. That is a very important thing. As soon as you put default constructor over here, then you will see all the values and all the fields gets printed properly on the console. This is very important concept, and this is the case 2. This is case 2. Okay, so what was case 1? Case 1 was when class A is implementing serializable and class B is not. In that case, class B will automatically become serialized. In case 2, class A is not implementing serializable, only class B is implementing serializable, which is extending class A. Then in that scenario, all the values will reset to their default value, but before that we need to have the default constructor, because during runtime JVM will look for default constructor in class A because it is not serialized. Okay, so this one is case 2. Then what is case 3? Case 3 will be a custom serialization concept. Okay, so let me remove this ones. Okay, so now we will understand case 3. Okay, what is case 3? Case 3 is class A is implementing serializable. Class A is implementing serializable. Okay, but class B only extend class A. Class B is not implementing serializable. Then what will happen? You will think like it's similar to case 1 only, right? Class A is implementing serializable, then class B will automatically get serialized. But here comes the case 3 where we don't want my class B to get serialized. You will think like, what can I do? It will automatically get serialized. So what can we do? Yes, we can make class B as not serializable object, not serializable class. How can we do that? That is the main important question that we have to consider here. So let's suppose you are doing certain operation over here, like you are making use of file. You are taking the object and storing the data in the file with the help of file output stream. Okay, you are getting the data from the file, you are writing the data on the file, giving the path with the help of file output stream. Okay, file output stream. Then comes the object output stream. Okay, so first we have to take the data like object output stream class we have to use to give the path, and then file output stream we have to use, okay, to store the data into that file. Okay, and then that process will become a serializable process. And while doing the deserializable process, we have to make use of object input stream and file input stream for deserialization. Okay, so that we have to understand. For file I am telling you. Okay, so here what we have to do. So here there will be two methods that we have to understand. The first method is read object method and second method is write object method. Okay, so these two are the methods present in object output stream class. Okay, so that read object method and write object methods needs to be implemented in the child class. In this scenario, in case 3 only I am telling. So there will be two methods over here, read object and write object. So these two methods are present in object output stream and object input stream class. Okay, so in object output stream there will be write object, because that object output stream is responsible for serialization. Okay, and read object will be present in object input stream class, because that is responsible for deserialization. Okay, so I don't want my class B to get serialized during serialization as well as deserialization. I have to limit this class B to get serialized as well as deserialized. So for that purpose, we need to make use of read object and write object method in class B. Okay, we need to implement these two methods in a subclass, in my child class. Okay, so within this, what we have to do, we have to throw exception in these two methods. Okay, we have to first implement these two methods. Okay, and within these two methods, I have to throw one exception. What exception can you throw within these two methods? There is one exception we have to throw here. So let me write it for one. For other, you can write it by yourself. Okay, so for read object I am telling it's of void type, public void read object. Okay, within read object, what you can do over here, you can throw one exception over here, throw new. I think you remember this concept, right? In exception handling you might have learned, like in that method declaration there will be throws. Okay, and in method definition there will be throw. In method declaration there will be throws, and in method definition only there will be throw. Don't get interchanged and get confused. Okay, throw will be there in method definition only. So here what we have to write with the help of new, because we are creating new object over here for one exception class. So we have to make use of one exception class over here. Which exception class? We have to make use of throw new not serializable exception. Okay, and here you can give some message if you want, like this class is not responsible for serialization or deserialization, that you can pass any message over here. Okay, but the main crux or the main idea of this point is we have to throw exception as soon as this JVM will try to compile this class. Okay, JVM will try to serialize this class automatically, then we have to stop it, then we have to limit it with the help of this exception. Okay, we have to throw new not serializable exception. As soon as you throw it, JVM will understand like my child class is not set for getting auto serialized. Okay, so class B will not get serialized in this scenario. Okay, and in write object, whenever you are writing this not serializable exception, then what will happen? This read object is for deserialization. Okay, it's for deserialization. I am telling you. For serialization, we have to implement this exception in write object method. Okay, I think you are getting. Read object is for deserialization and write object is for serialization. The similar thing you have to do for write object as well for serialization. That is important. Okay, so similarly you have to implement this write object method. Okay, this will take one argument of file output stream, I think, and then within this you have to throw this exception. Same exception you have to throw in write object method as well. So as soon as we implement these two methods, right, read object and write object, and you are throwing this exception, then my compiler or my JVM will get to know that class B is not set for serialization as well as deserialization. Okay, so to sum it up, there are three concepts that we have discussed in serialization with respect to inheritance. The first case is class A, which is the super class, is implementing serializable, but class B only extend class A. It doesn't implement serializable. Then in that scenario, my child class will automatically get serialized. This is case 1. Case 2 is class A is not implementing serializable, class B is extending class A, and only class B implements serializable. Then in that scenario, what will happen? Class B, all data of class A will come into class B, but it will get reset to their default value. And second important thing in case 2 is we have to give default constructor, because at runtime JVM will look for default constructor in class A. If you don't give, it will start throwing me compile time error. Okay, so after giving that default constructor, you will get to see your values gets rechanged to their default value. If it is string, it will be null. If it is int, it will be 0. If it is float, it will be 0.0. Okay, like that. All their data types are having their own default value. It will get reset to their default value. Okay. Then case 3 comes when class A is implementing serializable. Well, case 3 is asked most of the time in the interview. Okay, so case 3 is very important. This concept is called custom serialization concept, where I don't want to get class B serialized when class A is serializable. Class A is implementing serializable. So that is called custom serialization concept. So how to stop my child class to get serialized when class A is serializable? Just we have to implement read object and write object methods present in object output stream and object input stream class. Okay, and as soon as you implement this, you have to throw this exception, throw new not serializable exception. So from this particular line, my JVM will get to know that class B is not set for auto serialization or deserialization. So I hope you got a concept, you got a clarity like how serialization and deserialization is working internally, and with respect to inheritance how it is working. Okay, so I hope you got the concept, you got the understanding. Now you will nail it in the interview. Now we will see you in the next lecture. Till then, bye bye.